Hello, and welcome to Thank a Teacher podcast. Here we are today with Elizabeth Holmes. She is a wife, a mom, a special education teacher in Palm Beach County, and currently running for State House 94. So happy to have you with us today, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yay, we have a common district. I used to teach in Palm Beach County as well, but that was back in the early 90s, so I haven't been there since.
Well, it is a huge district and, we're doing good things here.
Yes, it was a great
Oh,
district to work for, I would say, at the time.
but we need to
And
pay our teachers more, that's for sure.
yes, for sure. Everywhere in Florida, when I was in Palm Beach, I was making very little. So I can completely understand that. You're episode 12, I believe. So it's all about thanking our teachers for making an impact in our life. Do you have a favorite teacher or several that you'd like to share?
I definitely have a couple. The first one that always comes to mind was my second grade teacher, Mrs. Meyers. And I remember she was the one that really instilled that love of reading. She used to read the class the Judy Blume books, Fudge and Super Fudge, and she would do the voices. She would do a voice for the Fudge character, and
Ah,
that made it really fun. And I grew up to love Judy Blume. She's my favorite author.
yeah.
And what really I remember about Mrs. Myers is I'm not really sure what was going on at home, but I was going through a thing, having some issues. And I remember she called me one day on the weekend on the phone. My mom said, your teacher wants to talk to you. And just her taking the time out of her busy life to do that meant so much to me and
Oh,
is something I've never forgotten and won't ever forget.
for sure. Absolutely. She out of her normal workday too.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's very thoughtful. Do you do that now as a teacher every once in a while?
I do. I mean, I think because of that experience and the experiences with other teachers, I think I really like to kind of go the extra mile to let my students know that I care.
Yeah, I think because you know how it felt,
Hmm.
being noticed
Yeah.
and being given that extra attention.
Yeah. And every kid wants to be heard and seen.
Hmm.
I mean, every adult wants to be heard and seen. And,
So
I think
true.
it's important to let kids know that they are.
Yeah, and it takes a caring teacher to do that. So I appreciate you continuing on what Miss Myers did for you. How did she influence your personal or academic life?
Mhm. Well, I think kind of like what I said before is just, making sure that my students know that I care about them enough
Carrying on
to
her.
and I had another teacher, my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Pugh, who she
Okay.
passed away a couple years ago, but she was wonderful
Oh,
and
I'm
she
sorry.
kept up with my life on Facebook and was
Oh,
always
nice.
commenting and sending me messages and that was so sweet. And she I have a sister and two brothers, and three of us had Mrs. Pugh, so she knew our whole family, and
Oh, that's pretty
she was always
special.
very kind to our family and just a wonderful person all around.
That's very nice. Now, did you go to school in Palm Beach too?
I did. I grew up in Wellington, Florida, so I went to
Okay.
Wellington Elementary where I had those two teachers and New
Awesome.
Horizons Elementary because my mother was a teacher too. So I went there for part of elementary school when she started working at New Horizons and Wellington Landings and Wellington High School. So yes,
Okay.
all of the schools in the county that I currently work in.
Oh, that's great. So you're carrying the torch and now you're still trying to make a difference in other ways, which is exciting. If you could say one thing to both of those teachers, what would it be?
I mean, I think I would say kind of what I told you is, that is something I remember. You may not remember it, but I remember it and it made a really big difference in, how I felt and also how I am as a teacher.
Yeah, like thank you for paying attention to me and making me feel
Mhm.
special.
Yes,
Awesome.
I'm paying it forward.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's about. I think a lot of teachers become teachers because we had great teachers, and we can see the power that they have in
Mhm.
bringing joy to people's lives.
Absolutely.
So now I'd love for you to share your experience campaigning and why you decided to run for Florida State House 94.
Well, I
Mhm.
never thought about running for anything, but I grew up going to school board meetings with my mom, fighting for
Okay.
teacher salaries, and here we are 40 years later doing the same thing. And
Mhm.
a couple months ago, I had a really bad day at work. I had a student who was in crisis, and I ended up having to take her to the hospital. And it was a rough day, very
Mhm.
emotionally exhausting. And when I finally got home, I saw the news headlines that the superintendent of Palm Beach County Schools was offering teachers a 1% raise at a time when we are the lowest paid in the entire country. And I kind of just thought about my day and how much teachers give of themselves for their
Mhm.
students, how much we do for our students. And I thought enough is enough. Something needs to
Mhm.
change. And I ended up writing a Facebook post kind of about that. It started with, today is the first day in 15 years. I've said I don't want to be a teacher anymore. And it kind of went
Mhm.
on to talk about teachers and what we do. And it got a unexpected response. It went kind of viral. And in that, one of my students that I had in my class for 3 years reached out to me and he said, Miss Holmes, I've known you for a long time. Whatever adventure is within your grasp, I hope you like it and enjoy it. And that brought me to tears because I've never actually thought about leaving teaching, but that kind of gave me permission to do
Mhm.
something else. And kind of all of these things fell into place to get me where I am today. And I think that, there's so many things that are happening in our community right now, and our schools are a microcosm of our community. And what I see
For
in our
sure.
schools, I have students who are living on their own because their parents are deported. I have
Mhm.
students who are sleeping through first period because they're working super late to help
Mhm.
support their families. And like I mentioned before, students who are in need of mental health services and don't have access to them in the schools or in the community. And our teachers work so hard, and all of our school staff, our bus drivers, our paraprofessionals, our cafeteria workers are grossly underpaid.
I
And they are some of the hardest working people in our community and across our community. People are
Mhm.
working so, so, so hard and not able to get ahead right now.
So true. They're
Something.
the ones who deserve a vacation the most.
Mhm. Yeah, everybody is working so hard, to build a good life for themselves and for their family. And it's too much of a struggle right now than it really should be.
I agree.
We've been under Republican control in Florida for 27 years, and in that there's been a lot of corruption and money coming from insurance companies that are going into Republican campaign accounts and
Mhm.
millions of dollars. And that is why we are in the situation where we are in, where costs are astronomical and, people are
You've done
suffering.
your
So
homework.
yeah, we need people who understand our daily lives to
Mhm.
help to make
Totally
decisions.
agree.
Right now, there's only millionaires making decisions and they don't understand our everyday lives. And that
I
has to
agree.
change.
Mhm. I would fully agree that teachers are, and like you mentioned, parapros, even the school, security, custodians, lunch helpers. There's so many people that work so hard and put up with so much that it's difficult, to come home and
Mhm.
just be normal sometimes. Anybody who works in a school, I think, is building a community, but they're also working very hard for so little. And
Absolutely.
the more we can do to fight for that, I'm all for
Mhm.
it. So,
Yeah, I strongly believe that we cannot have strong communities without having strong public schools, and we can't have strong public schools without paying our teachers and
mhm,
all of our staff a livable wage. And without teachers, no other jobs exist.
mhm.
Um,
So true.
I think it's really important that we rebuild our public school systems and we fund our public schools. I know even just at my school, it is a very diverse, it looks like the state of Florida. We have the very, very wealthy and we have the very disadvantaged and everything in between. And we have culinary, which is an amazing program. And students who are on SNAP benefits are being asked to bring in their own food to cook. And that is just, it's unthinkable that
Yeah.
this is what is going on in our schools and that kids aren't being given these opportunities to explore new things. I met,
I don't have the funding to provide for the culinary,
yeah, and
the
I
food.
met
Wow.
I met another student, Braden, out in Belglade, and he told me that he was in band and he did percussion and he was going into 11th grade and he hoped to learn how to read music. And my son plays the saxophone and he's in the same grade. And I said, well, I don't understand. How are you in band and you don't know how to read music? He said, well, last year I was hoping to learn how, but our band teacher quit in the beginning of the year and was never replaced. And it's these extra
People leaving.
the
Because of all the
extracurriculars
extra
are,
things.
yeah, the electives that really make a difference and give opportunities to kids. And especially in communities like Belglade, where there's not a lot of opportunity and there's not
Yeah.
probably places or
Right.
funds to go out and have music lessons. And so that was just heartbreaking to me because I know how much music means to my son and is so good for him socially, academically,
Absolutely.
and
So good
in
for the
so many
brain
ways.
too.
So
Yeah,
that is
that's
definitely something that we need a lot of work on is funding our schools.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's exciting. I hope it goes well for you and you're successful with getting in and fighting for us because I would
Me
love to
too.
see a teacher in Tallahassee.
I hope to get you a big raise.
So I appreciate a teacher being here for us and knowing, especially somebody like me, special ed teacher. My mother was also a teacher and a principal. My father was a special education teacher. So, you know, at the dinner table, that's all we heard about is their rough day and then how little they got paid. So
And
it
the
hasn't
stories
really
about their
changed.
students, how much they really care. And
Yeah,
everybody has their favorite teacher. Every single person can
true.
tell you a teacher that made a difference in their lives. And so I think, we need to respect that. We need to respect the
Hmm.
profession. Um,
Absolutely. Seeing a lot of negative media about teachers really upset me. And so I'm like, what can I do?
mhm,
I can speak up for teachers and show people that teachers are amazing people. And
mhm.
that's the whole purpose of this podcast, because I think that it really needs to be said. As a special ed teacher, work in a lot of other classrooms and I observe other teachers teaching and see that how difficult it is. And they just look at me like someone else is here watching this, behavior that I'm observing. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how you do it. I try and help a little bit, but I'm not the main teacher. They're not always listening to me either. But
Yeah,
this year I have a walkie-talkie, so most of the kids know that I can walkie into
you
admin.
have the power.
Yeah. So it's a little different this year. And I changed grade levels. I was high school for a long time, and now I'm back to K through 8. But I
Okay.
mostly work with 5th through 8th graders this year.
Okay, so you and I kind of swapped. I taught middle school for most of my career, for 13 years, and for the past, this is my third year of high school.
Nice.
But it's fun. I like it. I love the kids.
Yeah, it's really cool because you can get pretty close with them and talk about their futures, and really get to know them. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Well, do you teach special education still, or are you teaching English now?
Currently, I am on political leave,
Okay,
because,
so
gosh, I did not know how much campaigning would take over life and
I
fundraising.
bet
So I had to make
campaign
that hard
life.
decision at the beginning of the year to take an unpaid leave to make this sacrifice. I am losing my
Seriously.
health insurance. My whole family's losing their health insurance at the end of the month
That's tough.
because I am taking this unpaid leave. But I feel so strongly about supporting our teachers, supporting our schools, and supporting our communities I that this is just something I need to do. We tell our students to be the change, to go out and make a difference. And, as a teacher, you got to walk the walk. So that's what I'm doing, even though I am giving up a lot and my family
For
is,
sure.
you know,
It
they,
sounds like it.
yeah, my time is being taken away from them. But
Big
my
sacrifice
oldest,
you're
my
making.
oldest son, he's 15. He actually came out canvassing with us and two of his friends last weekend, was knocking on doors. So getting him involved really is meaningful to me because I want my four boys to care about others and care about the
Yeah.
world and, do something to make a difference if they can.
Yes, absolutely. You have 4 boys.
Yeah.
You are
Great.
such a courageous, strong woman. I think it's awesome that you are standing up for us. So
And I've got a great supportive husband too, who has
um,
been wonderful, really taking on the role of first husband, as he likes to call
that's
himself.
cool.
But our kids are in all the sports, and it's been hard. But we do have a good community around us that have, offered, rides and stuff like that. So that's been wonderful and helpful too.
Good. That's good. Well, I'm glad you have the support, and it sounds like you're gaining more and more support as you campaign. Are you doing some other podcasts?
I do have another one coming up, I think, and a couple more my team is working on. But yes, as we get closer to November 3rd, it's getting busier and busier.
For sure.
Um,
So, is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience before we leave today?
Yes, I am. So I'm going to kind of go back to where I started. My student who had, said to me, whatever adventure lies within your grasp. And I'm like, this is my adventure and I can't do it alone. It cannot be just one person, standing on a stage or asking for votes. And so I would love to ask your listeners for their support in spreading the word. Anybody in Palm Beach County coming out to knock doors with us or volunteering in any way, making a donation. Every donation helps us to reach more voters. And, running a campaign is ridiculously expensive, even though I don't have anybody on payroll.
I bet.
Our money goes towards, taking care of our volunteers, making sure that they are hydrated when knocking doors and, giving them snacks and food, and also putting on events to get voters out, especially in areas where there is some voter suppression and low voter turnout. That's where our campaign dollars go to. And I'm sure you and your listeners have heard about all of the candidates in Florida who have been grossly outspent, but still boots on the ground, making the difference and winning their primaries. Angie Nixon, for one, was spent, I think, outspent 16-1. Emily Gregory in her special election when she flipped Mar-a-Lago's district was outspent, I think, 5-1.
Wow.
But we still need
We
some
need some
dollars.
we need some money. Supporting Elizabeth
Mhm.
Holmes and PB 94 and the state of Florida. Let's get some teacher pay up there because
Yes.
teachers are one of the hardest workers we know, right up there with our fire chiefs and, police officers and so many other service providers. So it's a very difficult world because our community is kind of in chaos right now.
Yes. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that people will come together in community because, as cliche as it is, we are more alike than we are different.
So true. I love that. That's awesome. So what is your website and your Instagram where people can find you?
My website is elizabethholmesforflorida.com, and my Instagram is Elizabeth for Florida, TikTok Elizabeth for Florida, and then I'm also on Facebook, Elizabeth Holmes for State House 94. Wonderful.
And, you know, love a teacher. Make sure we support our teachers. So please go out there and vote for Elizabeth.
Thank you so much.
Do you want to mention your student who had the quote that
Oh
kind of
yeah, my
brought you to
student
tears?
Josh. Josh is awesome. He is, I think, 20 years old now. He actually came out last weekend and was knocking doors with us. So that was super fun. And
Good for
he
him.
didn't know all of that. And I was able to tell him the rest of the story that like he was the one that really kind of convinced me that it was okay to leave teaching and do something to help more people.
Oh,
So
that's wonderful.
yeah, I
Yeah.
got to tell him and his mom that. So it was really nice. It was kind of a full circle moment.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. We really
Thank
appreciate you
you.
being here. We will be supporting you in every way.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And everybody else, we'll see you soon. Class dismissed.